Um, because it really struck me when I was reading your stuff. You guys have paired up with Tiger Woods' first Masters caddy, and
Yes.
I want to know what is the craziest, like wildest story that he told you while you were on a golf course playing 18 rounds together, or 18 holes, sorry.
Yeah, that was a wild day because I was at the Augusta Muni, which they all call the patch, because I guess the old manager's wife had a cabbage patch on property. So every local there only knows it as a patch. It's technically like Augusta Municipal Golf Course. And like when you're in Augusta, Georgia, you're just Master Story is basically just hit you in the face, right? Like you can't go anywhere. Like you're at the grocery store, people are wearing Masters hats. Like it's their local tournament essentially. For me and for you guys, like it's this, biggest tournament in the world, and it's a you dream of going there. Have you guys been there by chance?
No.
Haven't. One day we're
Yes.
going.
So yeah, it's that kind of place. It's the one day kind of place, right? You're like, I got to go one day. So I went to a practice round, I don't know, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So that's really my only experience. So being back there, I figured I was like, oh, maybe I'll meet some people that volunteer at the Masters or do whatever. And so I showed up at the Augusta Muni. Didn't have a tea time. I just, which I know might be anxiety inducing to you guys, but I just this was my 100 something course on this trip. So it was just so routine. And they were like, oh, well, there's this men's league coming out. So I don't know if you can get out if you want to go play by yourself before them. I was like, oh, no, I'll just wait. And I just knew, hey, I can ask this men's league. They're going to let me join them. And so one of the assistant pros was standing up front. He was just naming everybody that walked in. He's like, hey, here's so and so. He runs the league. Oh, here's this person. He works at the Masters every year, whatever. And then Tommy, this guy was walking up and he's like, here's Tommy. Oh, hey, he was Tiger's caddy at his first Masters. And I was like, come again? What? Say that one more time. And so, um, yeah. So then I ended up playing with Tommy and a guy named Jim Dent, who won I think 13 times on the Champions Tour, and it's from Augusta, and they grew up together. And the street leading into the course is named after Jim Dent now, which is pretty neat. And so I was trying not just bust into, hey, tell me everything you know about Tiger, right? Because it's, I mean, I'm guessing we're all kind of a similar age, right? Like I'm 32, and
Hmm.
I mean, Tiger was like our childhood, right? If you're into golf,
100%.
that was it, right? I'm sure maybe you guys had like the little Tiger head cover and everything on your drivers, maybe still do, potentially. So, and no judgment either way. So I was just kind of picking his brain about his life. His life was more fascinating, honestly, than his that time at the Masters, because he caddied for tons and tons of players at the Masters, and he did not want to caddy for Tiger, which I thought was so shocking. But he just didn't want to caddy for an amateur, which is hilarious in hindsight that it was Tiger Woods, and he's like, no thanks. So he so the story that sticks out to me the most was he said it was on Friday, which he was calling cut day, and Tiger drove it into the pine straw on 13, the famous par five dog leg, and he was only giving Tiger layup numbers just to punch it out of there and then hit his third shot up onto the green. And Tiger's like, no, what is it to cover the creek? And he's like, no, here, just here, it's just punch it out, whatever. And Tiger basically looks at him and is like, what is it to cover the creek? And he's like, oh, he finally tells him, I forget what it is, 230 or 220, something like that. And he's like, give me my 4 iron. And he said he just pures it out of the pine straw onto the green. They go on to make the
Wow.
cut, and he gets the low amateur. And then uh, Tiger ended up being pretty good, I guess, after that.